All right, guys. Well, welcome to the Not So Secret to Manifesting Impact with a dear brother Cory Lopes-Warfield and also our dear friend and brother Papi DiNuzzo. So thank you guys. Apologies for the technical delays, but we couldn't hear each other. Echoes on echoes on echoes. That's going out to the cosmos right now still. So the not so secret. So we're going to be talking about manifestation, charities, launching impact. We're going to have some fun in regards to an interesting new play on Gangster's Paradise to Creators Paradise and what we do at the nonprofit creators, and also with Cory's AI brilliance and deep care for tech for good. So over to you, Cory. Say hello and let's have some fun.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I think all of the reverberation was just kind of showing alignment and kind of synchronicity and concentric alignment. But here we are, and one of the things that I'm known as and for, in addition to being a serial tech entrepreneur, is being an influencer. I've been kind of one of the old school influencers on LinkedIn, and I've built a brand of multi-channel and on many social medias, and being a quote unquote influencer, being called or accused of being an influencer, really has helped shape who I am today. And I've understood having big numbers and having a big audience in and of itself may make someone an influencer, and companies may come and offer to pay us thousands of dollars to promote them on social media, and that's being an influencer, and they're hoping they make money, and right. But much beyond being an influencer, as I found, is being an impactor. And so when I work with people and help them grow six-figure followings and get tens of millions of views, I talk to them about how are you going to make an impact, right? What is your brand really going to be known as and for? And if impact isn't part of that narrative, I can't and don't want to work with them, right? So I've really kind of championed this concept of impact over influence. And when we talk about influence and we talk about impact, how do you really make that shift? Well, it's resources, right? And resources doesn't always necessarily mean fiscal or financial, but typically it does, or there's some component to that. So we've got Pappy with this. Pappy's wealth fund just crossed $1 billion, and so he knows something about resources and deploying resources intelligently and being a good fiduciary and custodian of wealth, right? Adam, you help people create nonprofits and centers of impact with business models around them, which I think is absolutely brilliant. And probably everyone watching this and that's going to watch the replay has read the book and probably also seen the movie of The Secret, right? And we've got Glenn Beckwith and all these incredible people, Bob Proctor and Jack Canfield, and a lot of those probably listening and we hosts know some of these people personally, and they're all the real deal in real life. But I think the too long didn't read, or the like one moment everybody remembers from that movie is after they've talked for a few minutes and he goes, "The secret is the law of attraction," right? And it's like that's the gotcha moment, right? So that's the secret, and it's like what do you do with it? And some people figure that out, and some people don't. But really, what is the law of attraction? It's reciprocity. It is attraction, but it's attraction scientifically, right? And so, how do we attract those resources? How do we then deploy those resources to make real impact, right? And I think that's why I'm excited to be here with you, Adam, and with Pappy, and to talk about how do more people watching this that may already be influencers but not making massive impact, or maybe they're making impact but they want to make a lot more of it, or maybe they've got a great idea on how to make impact but they don't have the resources for it. So we're going to set everybody tuned in up for success in all of those facets and more. And then if we have time, we're going to jam on a little AI music at the end.
Beautiful. And I just want to introduce over to Pappy here in a second. So thank you, Cory. Sincerely appreciate it. Yeah, we're the founder of the nonprofit creators. So we transform lives through the lens of charity and contribution. And normally in the business world, you see this profit and then you see purpose, and it's so far apart and it pulls people and they want to go over here and it creates stagnation, overwhelm, and not fulfillment. So what we do is we bring the profit and purpose together. And as Pappy always says, Namaste, the spirit in me greets the spirit in you. How can we create a wonderful ecosystem that feeds together? Following your calling, your deep care, and the cause or causes, and then integrating it in a way that's integrity based, human influence, so you can make more money and have more impact simultaneously. So when I first met Cory, we were just jamming out. He started talking about space tourism, frequency technology, taken over AI with love and loving is. And I was just blown away. And I said, my goodness, this is something I get behind because this is what we do day in, day out, from people planting a billion trees to people eradicating sex trafficking to someone that just didn't have food as a young child. And now they're doing annual events, handing out turkeys and different things like that. So when I had the privilege of meeting Pappy, it was one of those divine meetings and callings. Successful business owner doing great things in the world. And then he goes to an event. Some guy's about to write him a check and says, wait, you don't have a 501c3? I want to get 10,000 of your books, manifest anything you can imagine and send it across the world, but I want a taxable write-off. And he's like, this is interesting. So we tuned in. We said, how can we create this underlying arm and also allow more people to participate in the contribution? So we launched Pappy's Global Mindset Manifestation charity as well as an undercurrent to his enterprise of what he's doing in the world. So I'm going to throw it over to Pappy, and Pappy's a special sacred soul on this planet. So I signed up for his mission to help the 97% of the population truly remember the essence of who they are, that untapped potential, and the laws of creation and laws of attraction through manifestation. So, Pappy, so grateful for you, brother, and what you're doing across the world, and honored to call you a brother. Over to you, man.
Yes, thank you so much, Cory, for putting this together. And thank you, Adam. And as you said, I say namaste. The spirit in me greets the spirit in you, all my wonderful fellow brothers and sisters. Just, I think, just be helpful. I'll just keep it short and sweet on where I'm coming from, just so the audience knows from what my perspective is. Grew up in a steel mill town area here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I have a second home down in Tampa, Florida. But I went from the steel mill areas to a restaurant. Worked in a restaurant for decades in a family restaurant, then started my wealth management practice with $0. And as Cory was very gracious to illustrate, I went from $0 to over $1 billion in assets under management. I did that a very specific way, just like Andrew Carnegie said, accumulate every dollar a very specific way, manifesting through the law of attraction. And once I cracked the code, once I sort of reverse engineered this from DiNuzzo Private Wealth, DiNuzzo Wealth Management, then the next phase for me was giving back, teach to fish, give a fish. So instead of just giving a fish, I want to teach the fish is what my message is from the universe. Teach our fellow brothers and sisters how to manifest anything they can imagine. So that's through Pappy Mindset Coach. I offer a free book to everyone. You can get a free book. Now this all starts again with Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And over 100 million of our fellow brothers and sisters have purchased this book. And my book, Manifest Anything You Can Imagine, this is available for free, a free ebook on my website, pappymindsetcoach.com. So when I say read my book every day, study it, it's for the next 100 years from Think and Grow Rich. Then, as Adam said, my third leg is the Pappy Global Manifestation and Mindset Charity. That's my 501c3. So that's built into the future. So thank you so much, Adam, for putting that together for me. So it's all about taking this information. What I'm here for today, as always, is to take the last 7 decades I've been on Earth and compress this down and everything that I'm sharing my fellow brothers and sisters. So thank you so much, Cory, and thank you, Adam, for having me here today.
Thank you. Yeah, so Cory, in regards to being an impactor, we'll just dub it right now then, right? From the OG, from the influencer days as well. Where would you like to go, especially when it comes to cause marketing and integrating impact and following your cause? And we could talk about the art of fulfillment. We could jam around to multiple different charities and different lanes. You tell me, brother, following your lead.
Well, what I use my content and my reach for is really to try to steer humanity in the directions that I believe it needs to head in. Because I think there's a lot that could go wrong right now, and I don't see a ton of people that seem to be all rowing in the same direction, and really understanding some of what is in front of us societally. So I use my influence pretty specifically to highlight concepts like universal basic income and universal basic compute. And so just today, an hour or so before we did this broadcast, I did a post where I called out Bill Gates, and I am recommending that he pledge 7% of the bottom line revenue from all of his companies, from Berkshire Hathaway and Coca-Cola to the Four Seasons to Microsoft and LinkedIn and all of these companies. 7% of bottom line revenue that came from work that was done by computers, right? Whether it was automated by artificial intelligence, robots, AI infused robots, algorithms, things of this nature. This work is work that used to be done by humans and is now no longer done by humans. And the output and the revenues generated are still the same. Right? The difference is that they no longer have to pay humans. And so what we're saying is great. You guys have figured out a better way to do it. The technology is there. Get richer, make your shareholders richer, make your stakeholders richer, right? But at the same time, you do have an obligation to contribute some of that wealth that has been displaced by firing or making redundant tens of thousands of humans. We need that to go into a liquidity pool, right? And so my goal for years, and I talk to other people that are considered global, impactors in the UBI space as well, and I say, okay, if we were to get Microsoft, right, or the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to contribute just 7% of their bottom line revenue, only of revenues generated from displaced humans, we can then start to talk to Alphabet, Google, YouTube, right? We can talk to Meta, we can talk to XXAI, we can talk to IBM and Siemens and some of these other corporates. And 7% of the bottom line of what they're able to generate using automation now is a meaningful enough number to provide a universal basic care and income for humanity. And so, that's one way in which I use my influence and my reach and my social proof and capital to try to make impact in things like UBI or AI ethics. And so that's kind of a personal example from the last couple hours of my life as to how I'm using my, 580,000 followers and 10 million views a month kind of a thing. But I think hopefully that's a helpful example to those, both on the call and listening. But I'd love maybe to hear, Adam, unless you have a different direction, but maybe you can walk the listeners, you and Pappy, together through kind of how your system works and specifically how it worked for him. I advise and sit on the board of some 501c3s and the equivalents in other countries, but I even am thinking about creating a 501c3 for myself as well. So I think, just people kind of hearing how it's done, how you guys do it. I know it's not as easy as it sounds. So if people want to kind of put some meat on the bones, they'll want to reach out to you for a consultation. But maybe just kind of walking through, someone like me that's making impact, but that wants a 501c3 through to, someone like Pappy that now has one, and you were the catalyst. Maybe just, an understanding of that process will be helpful.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for illustrating such the amount of savings and doing a call to action for humanity with that 7%, because that could literally be a linchpin and a big domino that knocks everything over. So amazing. Love it. Yeah. So there's so many myths that run in the 501c3 or the public nonprofit space and world. And normally it's a myth of overwhelm, not know what to do, and loss of traction and stealing from your for profit dreams and your family. We've all heard a lot of stories of burnout and different things over the period of time, which is this is not the case. So, what we do is we call it a 14-day manifest your dreams formula. This is before I met Pappy, too. So, here's what we do is we send out a questionnaire out to you, filled out about 80% of the way. Now, why we do this is we believe in modeling, or Tony Robbins calls it success leaves clues. Now, once we jump on a call, all we need from you is an hour of your time. We're going to go through the core competencies of everything. We're going to go through a mission statement workshops. Now, this is my background in fun. This is majority of the hour call. We're going to tap into neurolinguistic programming, the energetics, and the pure resonance that's going to catapult you out of bed every morning, but also to be resonant to who we're serving. Super, super important because, again, power with those words that we use. Once we're done with that 1 hour call, our team handles all the paperwork for you. And why it's called the 14-day Manifest Your Dreams formula is within 10 to 14 business days, you're going to get your EIN and your articles of incorporation. You now can start taking donations and give donation receipts while you're waiting 3 to 6 months. So this is huge, right? Now, there's a lot of nuances amongst those questions, especially linguistically. And I'm a strong believer in traction and momentum and allowing people to, again, to participate in the contribution to create that, help more people do more good out there and start living in that space and what that can do. So what we go through is a lot of business owners we meet, they're not fulfilled, or let's just say satisfied with their levels of impact. So we help business owners have more impact and build a lasting legacy by launching successful nonprofits. So we work with a couple different people. So it could be a serial entrepreneur that's already giving and has a big donation fund. It could be a business owner who wants to make more money and have more impact simultaneously. They want to reinvigorate their culture. Or it could be, say, an existing charity that might be wearing too many hats per se in the marketing space or innovation or not fully underplay as well. So if someone comes to us and they say, hey, I want it all, or I want to go through this creator's paradise, what we do is we do non profit formation. We build premium websites. We do funnel architecture, having that digital real estate that really taps in. So it's a purposeful customer journey. So you're adding value and you're taking them along the path. We secure six-figure grants. We've helped charities, individuals reach over millions of dollars. We have a 100% success rate securing these grants. We also create a money machine and a sustainable revenue model with best-selling books where we include 15 charities all working together for good. Charity's been in existence for a long time, charity's brand new, and charity's in the middle. So it's just absolutely fun when we do a networking event and we say, man, what are you struggling with or what do you need help with? And then someone raises their hand and they remember the true essence of contribution. They come together without an ego. They're not battling tooth and nail. And this is what's so important about sacred communities and proper facilitated leadership. When you start with contribution, growth, and love and connection, this is where we truly open it up and we remember who we are and here to serve. And then our final thing is what I teach is advanced fundraising and cause marketing within our Innovate for Humanity network. So we'll reverse engineer some super successful ones to simple projects and we'll understand where you are on your map. And here's the best part about it. If you have an hour or 2 hours a week, we got you. If you believe this is your full legacy and you want to spend 60, 80 hours and you get to, you don't have to because this is just your purpose and your fulfillment, beautiful. So we'll align with exactly where you are. We ask an internal question day in, day out within our companies. We say, how can we create a world-class raving fan experience while meeting your philanthropic dreams on your timeline while having fun? Because again, we ain't doing it right if we ain't having fun. So Pappy, um, if you don't mind, share your experience in regards to when you came to us and us being the guides, because 99% of all of our clients, they have no background when it comes to the charity space or the philanthropic mission. They might be successful business owners, but they need that stewardship and that positive help. Over to you, Pappy.
Yes, thank you, Adam. And from what Adam had just described was literally my exact experience. And you hit the nail on the head, Adam. Not only did I not know anything, I 100% I knew nothing about the nonprofit space, setting up a 501c3. But that is Adam and his team's expertise. It was hand-holding from the very beginning. He did deliver as advertised. It's been a great experience. And not just the actual filings and the law and the rulings and all those machinations of being in order, but the human side, the human element side to it, that Adam and his team, their heart is really exactly in what Cory started us off on impact and how important impact is. And, my experience from knowing Adam and his team, they're literally living this. They're looking, how can they positively impact our fellow brothers and sisters? And just to segue that into Adam, just to let people know how Cory was, there's so many different ways we can help to impact our fellow brothers and sisters. I mentioned what we're doing, a free book to everyone, launching the 28-day Manifesting Accelerator online course. And everything I set up is that anything that has anything to do with like selling an online course, and there's a buy one, give one. So we're focused on how do we give to our fellow brothers and sisters in need. The universe came to me and says, Pappy, 97 up to 97% of your fellow brothers and sisters are not manifesting anything they can imagine. They're negatively manifesting. So we start off with the law of attraction, as Cory said, and then we're manifesting, fellow brothers and sisters, everything in your life you've manifested. If you look around you, everything in your life you've manifested, your entire reality. But the challenge is 97% of our fellow brothers and sisters are manifesting reactively, not proactively, and then finally through the law of allowance. So Cory, thank you for reminding me again. But impact is at the core of our heart and soul. What we're attempting to do. Last time I looked, I think over 50%. And to your comment, Cory, about universal basic income, the UBI, the last time I looked, I mean, the numbers were something like over half of our fellow brothers and sisters, out of our 8 billion plus fellow brothers and sisters, are living on less than $3 per day. So again, this impact that we can have to help lift them up out of poverty from the manifest and they can imagine is the lane that I'm in, so to speak. And the great part about it is our fellow brothers and sisters don't need anything. You don't need to own a house. You don't need to own a car. You don't need to have so much money in the bank. You can start from exactly where you're at right now for us to have impact, to help to work together and collaborate to raise the individual level of consciousness and the collective level of consciousness across the entire globe.
Amen. Beautiful. And Cory, I want to answer your question directly as you are in these spaces and on the boards of different 501(c)(3)s. So again, from success strategies and for viewers that haven't heard the term or not familiar with the words cause marketing. So multi-billion dollar industry in a few years it's going to reach $1 trillion. Now, what is cause marketing? Here's how I simplify it down because I bet you've seen it around your local markets and everywhere. Let's say I own a puppy rescue and you guys love puppies, right? Cory and Pappy, you good on that? Make sure. All right, awesome. So let's say my for-profit company gave 50% of all of my proceeds to that puppy rescue. Now, naturally, you want to do business with me. Now, why is that? Reciprocity, familiarity is all transitioned through the cause because people care about what you care about and what you make them feel. So if you tap into something that you deeply care about and you integrate it within the business system and allow your for-profit phone and your nonprofit phone to exist to create flexibility, and if someone comes in through this one phone over here versus this one, you're still doing more good. You're still building a bigger culture. Now, here's where it gets fun. How do we create a sustainable model where we have 5, 10, 15, 20 businesses all funding that charity because it's aligned with your core ethos, your culture, and what you're doing for the greater good? If you can share those impact stories and you are the culprit of those and what you're already doing in the planet, the right preface, the right framing, and the right gift into another business that keeps employees happy. They're more efficient, they're more productive because it's not just a monotonous, repetitive wheel. So, how do we put that together where not only a founder is reaching in their pocket and donating directly to their cause to do more good, but how do we allow other people to see that good, want to be a part of it, and like Pappy just mentioned, raise the collective consciousness, create a beautiful money machine, and watch and enjoy the impact? And that's fun when we deep dive into business owners or understand what is the long term goal, especially for humanity, because that's on my heart. The purpose of my life is to be loving, enjoy serving humanity, and to create a magical life for myself and others. And that's what I'm tuned into with Pappy and Cory, and I'm appreciative of being here. So over to you, Cory.
Well, I absolutely love that. So I think I would love to kind of dig in. One of the concepts I champion on social media is this concept of collaboration over competition. You talk about 5, 10, 15, 20 different businesses all feeding, one cause through cause marketing. I would love to kind of hear the business model behind that. I'm sure it goes far beyond tax write-offs and I'm sure it touches on things like reducing customer acquisition cost but a lot of the people that follow my content are either entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs. So how does this kind of doing good and finding alignment actually generate more monies, more revenues, more donations as well?
Yeah, beautiful. And I love what you said, collaboration over competition. And in Pappy's book, in his 28-day manifesting accelerator, he has this beautiful acronym. I'll have him share that in a second with CAFTA. Um, Creative energy rather than competitive, right? in that creation state is so, so vitally important. So it's a combination of different things, right? So it depends on the business owner or the aspiring business owner of where they're at and where they want to go. If it's if it's something that they're trying to be extremely grandiose and create full sustainability, creating pilots or a certain group of a threshold and allowing them to have the benefits. It's sometimes reverse engineering, but also a needs based analysis for what they really care about and helping them reach their goals. We call it a quad win stack. You have to win, we have to win, who we're serving has to win, and humanity has to win. So when you come with that deep care and actually fulfill, I want to be a prayer answer for this business, you're listening beyond a transaction because it's coming through that quad win stack as well. So if this business is trying to acquire more customers, get on bigger stages, um, have their employees stay longer and be more fulfilled, this is where you can go in there and integrate these giving principles, this spaciousness, this moments of wow, look what we just did, right? Beyond a quarterly, or it could be a monthly, it could be a daily. It's simply a moment of presence to the greater good of what's truly happening. And how do you do that? So there's many different examples of how corporate social responsibility individuals and businesses are within organizations, and they have their whole job is to integrate giving and gifting within their organizations, right? So how do we come into that organization, identify those particular needs, and then build that roadmap that it's um, not overwhelming? So I'm all again about traction and momentum. If we can create a couple key steps and we say, this is all we need, here's your role, go share this. You're already on a stage, you have a microphone, and simply it's the call to action with the proper frame of tapping into the heart. Raise your hand who wants to be a part of this? Let the volunteer army be on the board and start creating pledges. Some people don't have full money and let's say, yeah, monetary way to donate, but their time, their energy, and the resource of the human spirit all aligned toward the greater good of your ethos and your mission. What can that do? It can manifest anything you could imagine, truly. So this is where it's fun. We've had one charity come to us that we helped create. They got $1 million pledge in the first couple months. They raised 200,000, 45,000 helped build a school. 6 months in, they saved 60 kids from sex trafficking in the Congo. Just outstanding individuals, and it was all about that momentum. How can we best serve? And they started going in. But one cool thing they did is they created a time for good pledge bank. So they said, hey, if you're just going to donate money, we don't want your money. What? So they use a little reverse psychology here. And they're like, well, what do you mean? It's like, if you're going to donate money, we want you to commit and pledge 5 hours of your time. Now think about this as a strategy, just one. Now, if I donate now, the laws of reciprocity and feeling and confirmation and commitment, affirmation biases, I now owe you and your organization 5 hours. Now, what happens if we get busy? If it's still running in their head, maybe they don't fully give you 5 hours, but they say, you know what? I'm going to give you an audience so you can speak to here, or I'm gonna actually, I have like 4 VAs that might be able to help you, or I actually know some other community organizers that might be fun for you and your business to get a hold of. Now you have all these resources. So imagine just a huge warehouse full of all these different things that could be for the greater good that people are paying a lot of money for, in kind donations and different things, packaged and bundled the right way to create that impact and take it to the next level. Again, it's limitless on where we can go from there.
So let's talk about there's not very many trillion-dollar companies in the world. What do you think your model could do, and who would you be looking to work with to create the first trillion-dollar nonprofit?
So the first $1 trillion nonprofit. So the nonprofit creators evolved and it became a brand. So we launched an international peace day called Innovate for Humanity. So this is where we connect world game changers to serve humanity, and this is where the fun happens. I believe the right minds, the right energy, and pure resonance align towards the goal with harnessing the power of AI, but also the understanding of the consciousness behind it. That's why I appreciate with what you're doing, Cory, with Loving Is and your partners in that space. That alone, with these particular models, we're going to be at the table People are already coming. It's just how do we truly tune into those problems? I don't have the full answers off the top, but I know what I'm good at, and I know my zone of genius from systems, processes, and integration, and then the psychology and the communication of it, and how a for-profit, nonprofit can work together for the greater good. Now, what I say is we need that sacred community still anchored in ethos of contribution, growth, love, and connection as a starting point, and that proper leadership on how we can take it to the next level and tune in. That's why it's so beautiful when we have a chance to meet you and Pappy and other just super geniuses on the planet that are doing so good. But as we know, what happens in silos that doesn't get other data or information, we have epic catastrophes or big losses in certain things. So I'm here to create that sacred space and be a part of it as much or as little as I want. I'm a team player like old school Pappy. Put me on the bench. If we need to ride the bench, it's all about the team victory. So over to you, Pappy. What are your thoughts on that one? Great question, Cory.
Yeah, you and Cory, like I say, you heard me say before, Adam, both you've been popping popcorn here. You guys are really on a roll. But yeah, I think back to the trillion. As you said, the $1 trillion market. It's multi-billions now for cause marketing, and going to be $1 trillion market, as you said, that $1 trillion number, Adam. And I think, I just look at, in our case, working with you. And what I'm doing, and it's just like, as you said, Cory, you bring these like-minded individuals together. I love the creativity that Cory was mentioning. That's what Adam mentioned. I've got in my book. You can only have one thought in your mind at a time, my fellow brothers and sisters. There's nothing more powerful than the thought in your mind. That is what starts the entire process to manifesting. You can imagine, you can only be in a creative mindset, as Cory was saying. You can only be in a creative mindset or competitive mindset. You're not going to manifest anything you can imagine if you're in a competitive mindset. Be in a mindset of creativity. Be in a mindset of abundance instead of scarcity. Be in a mindset of faith instead of fear, positive attitude instead of negative attitude. So you bring all this together. And, Adam, just thinking about what you said with even how this is working for example, the project you've been working with me on for my 28-day manifesting accelerator, reaching out to other like-minded nonprofits, 501c3s. How can we partner, all sort of drinking from the same water, like Cory said? How do we bring all of us together to have this shared goal of impact to help our fellow brothers and sisters in need? And I just see this, because I'm a pure sort of business person. I've been at this for decades and decades, but I see like a giant magnetic pull going towards what you stated, Cory, this creativity, universal income, or something along those lines. That there needs to be the books balanced somehow for this. Instead of artificial intelligence, you call it also, Cory, advanced intelligence. But like I said, there's got to be the books balanced for our fellow brothers and sisters to no fault of their own. So it's up to leading folks like us. Whenever someone asked Albert Einstein, what's going to be the number one determining factor if I'm going to be successful or not on Earth? And Albert Einstein answered a question with a question. He said, it's going to all depend on how you answer a question. And they said, well, what is the question? Why is it that important? He said, it all depends on that. Do you think that the universe is friendly? So my fellow brothers and sisters, do you think the universe is friendly? There's so much love for you out there with individuals such as Cory. Just what we're bringing to the forefront today with the work Adam's doing, and for all of us to work together. And as you said, Adam, just a little bit ago, it could be anyone along the whole continuum who's listening today. Someone, they could have zero financial resources, but they may have the greatest gift of their hands to be able to do something. Technology, they can help. You're talking about building schools with your nonprofit organizations. So everyone who's in the distance of Cory's ear, so to speak, on Cory's shout out to the universe here on today's episode, everyone to think, do you consider the universe to be friendly? I'm telling my fellow brothers and sisters, it is so friendly. You possess all knowledge and all power of all time within you and your subconscious mind to be able to manifest anything you can imagine. You can accomplish anything. So I just ask you, elevate. I know what Cory's saying today and what Adam's saying today, I know it's resonating somewhere in your subconscious mind. I just ask you to follow your intuition, follow your heart, and try to just get on the vibration frequency that we're putting out today, that we can pull all of us in and all of us together on Cory's message, and Adam, that you've been buttressing so well. So yes, I'm very excited about us all working with our fellow brothers and sisters, hand in hands, for all of us to use our expertise to leverage this impact as well as possible.
That's awesome. And I see not only do we not have time for the kind of AI music tutorial, but also StreamYard doesn't permit for screen sharing. So it was not going to be feasible. So instead, I'll take us down a different fun rabbit hole. So some people listening will know this already, but many will be surprised to learn that there are many planets in the universe that are actually just completely diamond, right? They're just, and a lot of them are much bigger than the Earth, but they're just completely made out of diamond, right? We understand that the diamonds are made from carbon under certain circumstances, and so we understand that they're diamond planets. Well, now let's get much closer than any diamond planet to this Earth. Let's go to literally our local asteroid belt, right? So NASA has recently done some analysis and research onto our local asteroid belt, and by their assessment, the amount of precious materials, namely silicon, platinum, gold, and silver, and diamond, and some other materials, but just in our local asteroid belt is a number that's fun to say, and it's fun to try to visualize. It's 24 quadrillion dollars, right? And so what does that mean, right? What is a quadrillion dollars? Well, that number is sufficient to provide every human being on Earth with $2 billion, right? So every human on Earth, whether they're sleeping on a cardboard box, or whether they're sleeping in somebody's sofa, or whether they've got their third home and they're going to fly their private jet to go take a look at some new part of the world. Uh, every human being on Earth could be a multi-billionaire, right? If we were to simply mine this local asteroid belt. Well, it gets even more exciting because we have just recently societally started to mine the local asteroid belt, right? So the first haul has come back. It's quite valuable. Now, obviously, if we had trillions of tonnages of diamonds on Earth, and diamonds would be worth nothing, right? So you do look at supply and demand, and you look at some of these other concepts, but you say there's quadrillions of dollars of wealth in our local asteroid belt. Now we're seeing things like reusable rockets, right? And we're building things like space stations that can launch rockets to reduce the travel time. And we're seeing robots that can go and do things like actually mine these asteroids and land on these asteroids. And we say, okay, when we hear about abundance, right? And when we hear about all of these things, all we have to do is imagine that we are literally, and we're souls in a meat suit on a floating rock in the middle of nowhere, right? Blah blah blah. But we're surrounded by diamond planets and an asteroid belt locally that has billions of dollars, or represents billions of dollars of wealth for every human being on Earth. So, when you hear people like Pappy and Adam talking about being able to manifest anything that you can think of, right? I think one of the quotes is, whatever, I think it's Tony Robbins, whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve, right? Um, these are not just words, right? This is absolutely viable, scientific, pragmatic, real stuff. And so, the easy, quote unquote, easy thing to do is to become a millionaire, to raise $1 billion wealth fund or something, right? Because this is just a byproduct of what we expect, what emotions and feelings we ascribe to certain feelings that we hold, right? Me imagining the smell of my new Cullinan, right? How it feels to sign the paperwork at the dealership and take my umbrella out of the door for the first time and go, this is my Rolls Royce, right? That's the easy part. The hard part is, how are you a good steward, right? With that $1 million, with that $1 billion, how do you truly pay it forward, right? And I'm a big fan and proponent of the circular economy, right? This concept of, if I take a $10 bill and I give it to Adam, it's now worth $20, right? Because I could have folded it and put it in my sock drawer, put it in a savings account, or kept it in my billfold, and it would still be worth $10 as long as I hold on to it. But as long as I get something from Adam that I believe is worth $10 for that piece of paper, he now has the opportunity to do the same thing. And so that $10 bill is worth $20. So now if he goes and he spends it with Pappy, right, he gets something that he finds was worth $10 to him. He's very happy to exchange a piece of paper for that $10 bill is now worth $30, right? So we imagine this $10 bill touching 100 hands, right? And suddenly it's worth $1,000 instead of $10. And so I look at everything you guys are doing, right? The pay it forward, to teach a person to fish, the help someone set up a nonprofit that can make impact, make dreams come true, but also make money, right? And I say this is absolutely beautiful. And I look at some of the potential $1 trillion nonprofits. And to me, UBI, by virtue, if it's universal, will be and must be a multi-trillion-dollar, initiative. Now, is it a nonprofit or not? Maybe that's a matter of semantics and legalities or not. Or maybe it's what papers are signed by whom, right? But then I look at the mining of the asteroid belts. This could be done as a nonprofit as well, right? That could be the first quadrillion-dollar nonprofit, right? And then I look at things like cause marketing, and fantastic, multi-billion-dollar industry set to be a trillion-dollar industry. Well, if we were to start to do things like that as a nonprofit, that achieves that same big T valuation. So I do see I've got a client that just joined my weight room, so I'm gonna have to drop here in a second. But I love Pappy and Adam. Maybe talk them off, but I'll say thanks everyone for hanging out and jamming. I hope everybody hits up Adam and creates their own nonprofit like Pappy does, and if so, you'll probably see me in line doing the same thing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cory. Sincerely appreciate it. And thank you for taking us to the asteroid belts from the unlimited wealth and wisdom that's around us. So amen to that. And I'll talk to that because you just opened up like seven different beautiful ways for us to continue. So Pappy, if you're still down for a little bit more jamming, I'd love to continue this. Are you still game? Awesome. Well, Cory, thank you so much, brother. I love you and I'm with you, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Love you too, brothers. Thanks for this. Bye all.
Hey guys, thank you so much. Sincerely appreciate it. Thank you, Cory. Thank you, Pappy. I think we got hit by a cosmic flare. Send us bye bye on the LinkedIn native Zoom. So sorry about that. Or it could have been just a fast click of a button. So apologies again, but we didn't want to leave you in the dark with that transition. So Cory just was mentioning a lot of things in regards to wealth and creation and what's surrounding us and how we're playing within it. So I wanted to talk about that, especially from a paradigm and languaging of what true wealth is. And I'd love to talk with Pappy about this because, especially from the lineage of these deep positive stewards of the greater wealth of information and manifestation and law of attraction from Bob Proctor and beyond, I remember reading and listening to something from Bob Proctor redefining the paradigm or the psychology internally of what true wealth is. If you knew what the availability and the energy that we have in the gases and the molecular structure within our body right now, we're already worth $1 billion. And I think he came out with this maybe 5, 6 years ago. And I remember him sharing it. And it was just a huge paradigm shift to like, wait, you're already a billionaire. Yes, this is factual data that people are paying for, etc. Now, imagine you embody that. I'm getting shivers just feeling it, right? So, what is the true wealth? What is it from a sometimes people look through the lens of their bank account and that's how they desire they're the meaning makers into who they are and how they see themselves. So this is what's so fun when we go into these amazing conversations with different charities like Aiden, for example, a beautiful brother who has a charity called the World's Greatest Experiment. Now, this gentleman is creating a love currency. Now, think about this. Go to the most impoverished countries in the planet, teach them how to pray, meditate, and harness the power of love, and send that frequency to people in need. Now, if you believe in quantum entanglement or quantum manifestation and how this works from a vibration and energy and frequency level, we're all connected. We're all on this ship together, right? This is the collective consciousness. We're sharing the field. What he's done is creating these different love farms where people who are impoverished by the anchor definition of monetary value, as Pappy said, 50% of the population might be living off of around $3 a day. Now, if you wake up, you can pray, meditate, and send the frequency of love, and now you could go feed your family. You can fix your boat. You can literally go to the marketplace and get food for yourself or whatever you absolutely need. I believe this charity called the World's Greatest Experiment is going to change the world from a new currency. So they have one in the Philippines, Pakistan. They've opened some farms in Sierra Leone. It's just outstanding. Now, think about that from a form of currency. It's a full flip in we're not looking at the bank account, but your time, your energy, your focus, and your deep care and love sending it across. Now that's next level, right? And then Pappy, we met our dear brother and friend, also has an amazing charity called Rowdy Kinnig and the Life Energy Academy. We have frequency technology that's putting people, transitioning them from sympathetic to parasympathetic, out from a stress and anxiety to a fruition and a thrive state, right? And then also from a recharge perspective of putting you in that zone to take it to the next level, to show up as your true self and remember the true essence of who you are. So when you start talking about some of these big things from love, energy, and some of these huge things, I think that connects directly to what Cory was talking about, especially with the wealth, the $1 trillion business and the nonprofit as well. It's how we define it and take it to the next level. So, Pappy, I know you probably heard that quote from Bob Proctor since you were very inner circle with him as well. Do you remember that exact quote that I shared?
Yeah, I know Bob would break it down. And he would even go through how much power literally we have in our hand. For example, like a hand, your hand is enough to power and light up the average size city for weeks at a time. So, yeah, well, the energy that we have inside of us is absolutely astounding. Reminds me of Nikola Tesla's quote. Nikola Tesla, one of the smartest people that I know of that ever lived. He said, Mr. Tesla, what is it that I need to know to be successful on planet Earth and to be successful as successful I can be on planet Earth within this universe? He said, you need to understand three things: energy, vibration, and frequencies. I mean, our fellow brothers and sisters can only have a shirt on their back. They don't even need to have a shirt on their back, Adam, to be able to access the energy that's around them. We're in an energy field. We're in a field of consciousness. And just think about this, Adam. At the end of the day, what does the universe say? That the highest correlation, if you want to predict someone being happy, and there's a very strong correlation with being successful in life if you're happy. And happy sounds a little squishy, but there's a direct correlation. And a correlation is not that do you own a home or how nice it is or how many homes. It's not the car you drive. It's not the job you have. It's not the income you have. It's not how much sex you have over a period of time. It is completely correlated, one-to-one correlation to your level of consciousness, to your level of consciousness. So our fellow brothers and sisters in the consciousness of shame and guilt, you're at a very low vibration level. Anger, jealousy, fear, greed, worry, doubt. And that's what we're here for, is to raise this individual level of consciousness and the collective level of consciousness. So we're coming at it from sort of three different perspectives: from Cory's perspective, from Adam, your expertise, Cory's expertise, and mine. But what I love is we're meeting in the middle. We're meeting in the middle on everything. And the gravitational pull here is helping our fellow brothers and sisters in need. That is where all of our energy is, and that's where it's flowing, to help our fellow brothers and sisters in need with these massively different skills. Adam's skills are massively unique and different from Cory's. Cory's are massively unique and different from mine. But we all have this love in our hearts, and love is at the highest vibration. And just to know all of our fellow brothers and sisters in the sound of our voice, that's where we're coming from. We love you. We have love in our hearts. We want to help you to elevate and help you to manifest anything you can imagine. So it's just so exciting just to get us together today. You know, Adam, and just be kicking around ideas, share this with our brothers and sisters, and have them lean into it. Just have our fellow brothers and sisters, going to be brothers and sisters who were listening to this either live or on tape, what we did today. And I do believe it's going to spark them. It's going to ignite that spiritual spark inside of them to have them join the cause, so to speak, cause marketing, join the cause that you talk about so often, Adam. So I just say namaste, and I thank all of our fellow brothers and sisters for tuning in today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. And before we do a quick end on this too, as well, for that calling, amen to that. And I just want to acknowledge one thing that Pappy just shared. When it comes to the laws of frequency and the levels of the scale at where we're at, one choice in the moments of decision, your destiny is shaped, as Tony Robbins talks about. So how do we choose to show up? In an instant, you can be positive to negative on what we're thinking, what we're seeing, what we're feeling. Think about someone else. Think about the cause. Sometimes it's people. I love the quote of sometimes our worst nightmare is someone else's dream. Think about that. For all of the gratitude and the different things that we have in verses across the country or across the world, etc. So when it states, if you're frequenting at love and above, oh man, here we go. So let's choose love and above. And one key thing that I love from Dr. Richard Bandler, the founder of neurolinguistic programming, he talks about thinking on purpose. What is thinking on purpose? If you're the process of thinking is just asking questions. Okay. So is this right? Is this wrong? Am I familiar? Do I resonate? Is it not? So if you ask better questions, you get better answers. If you ask energetic frequency, beautiful questions, you're going to get even better energetic answers and you're going to tap in. Why is today going to be so great? Why can I show up with so much energy? Why, what Pappy just mentioned, why do I have this innate desire and this untapped creative potential within me that's ready to be shared with the world? And now is the time. How do I deeply know this within my soul? You're going to hear the voice. You're going to hear the truth. If we silence the noise, we play at the love and above, and we take it to the next level. So again, thank you, Pappy, for being here. Thank you for being a steward. Thank you, Cory. Sincerely appreciate the heart, the tech, and the mind, and the brilliance of not only an influencer but being an impactor. And this is what we're signed up here for bringing all of us together. And I want to just give a special shout out to Pappy and what's about to be launching here for him with this 28-day manifesting accelerator course. I've never seen something like this before. Manifesting anything you can imagine isn't just words, it is truth. Health, wealth, love, spirituality, and happiness, these five pillars that are deep to the core, it isn't about money. It's about you accessing the resources and the huge population that needs to experience this wisdom that we already have to remember who we are. So, much love from my heart to yours. Thank you, Pappy. Thank you, Cory. And we'll be talking to everyone very soon. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you, everyone.
Bye now.